kind of reflects the fact that business owners think that being an expert in their field is the most important thing about starting a business. But really, it's knowing how to find clients or how to sell your product, whatever your product is. That's really the number one thing when you start.
100% agree with that. In fact, the law firm that I worked at for so many years that was so large, the one of the primary rainmakers of that firm who brought in so much business, something he told me that has always stuck with me is that people don't want to work with you because they think you're the best lawyer. They want to work with you because they're your friend.
Yeah,
And that really stuck with me because realistically, there's a lot of good lawyers out there and a lot of lawyers who handle cases in similar ways and have great organizational skills and great courtroom skills. And at the end of the day, people want to relate to you. They want to think, yeah, I'd like to grab a coffee with him or her, or, you know, have a play date with our kids sometime. Like they want to feel heard and understood and that you care for them and that you're a friend to them. So that was really a principle that I took to heart when I started building my business and still do. I'm just looking for people that I want to be friends with and people who want to be friends with me. And then we
that's
naturally work together.
that's an amazing way to look at it. I know that, in the coaching industry, building relationships is so important. And I we're going to talk about your website and your blog and your podcast and everything. And you are building relationships digitally with people as well as face to face. Do you think that it's important to have that one-to-one contact, or do you think that you can build a relationship without the one-to-one time if you present yourself in the right way?
I've heard someone say before that they can build the know, like, and trust factor on a podcast in 15 minutes if someone just listens to the podcast for that long. I
Right.
don't I don't know. That's not me saying that. I don't know if that's true. I guess the listeners to my podcast will have to tell me, but I certainly believe you can build the know, like, and trust factor without having a one-to-one interaction. In fact, there's just not enough hours in the day to have one-to-one relationships with everybody. That's why I'm such a fan of podcasts and speaking engagements. Anyone who will let me speak on a microphone to an audience, I will be there because if I can create even just even if it doesn't get to the full trust component in just that time period, but if they now know me and they didn't before, and they like me because I presented myself in a likable way, then that's a win for me. And and so yes, you can build that relationship by the dozens, hundreds, and thousands without having to have individual face-to-face meetings with everybody.
I think that's a really good point. You think about lawyers kind of the same way you think about doctors sometimes, where, if you go and share very vulnerable things with someone, you want to feel like you have trust in that person to a fairly good level.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people don't realize that trust can be built to that level without actually meeting with them. And we know that. And you're right, because, look at coaches in the coaching industry who sell, $20,000 coaching packages just by doing a live webinar.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that you do have to know how to build that know, like, and trust factor. Is there something you think is key in the way you present yourself that builds it?
Vulnerability and authenticity more than anything. Sometimes, especially as lawyers, statistics show, and so there's reasons for this, that people want an aggressive attorney. That's
Yes.
what statistics show. That's why so many legal ads are very aggressive and have titles like, go get him and Tiger, and we're going to take him down.
Yeah.
There's reason for that. But that also comes with a a flip side, which is it doesn't make you very approachable or um, relate to people so much. And so for me, I've just tried to be authentic to who I am. And in doing things like social media videos and things like that, where I'm just speaking candidly, having the podcast, I think, helps because it allows you to speak in a long form content or in a long form way where you are um, just sharing your thoughts and feelings and examples from your own personal life, stories from your own personal life, people hearing where you come from, challenges you've overcome. It makes you relatable. They recognize that you are have similarities to them, and then they are rooting for you because they want you to achieve because they hear where you came from and believe in where you're going.
I think that's a really interesting point. My own mentor has a podcast as well as two businesses, one that's a seven-figure business, one that's an eight-figure business. And she talks about the fact that if you are not willing to present yourself as you really are, flaws and all, that no one will